Hey guys, Dave from Wolfhard Hobbying here, and today we're going to build a comm relay bunker, or something along those lines. In this build, we're going to use pretty much 100% recyclable materials. So to get us started, I've got this mushroom container. The mushrooms come in. The only thing you have to worry about these is they've got kind of a logo on the bottom sometimes, but you can easily cover that up with cardboard or foam board. I like these because they've got these nice grooved edges and everything like that. Kind of is a good base for making a bunker. Next, we're going to have a very thin bottle cap. This one came off of a popcorn kernel bottle, and that's going to be for our satellite. And in this build, we're not going for extremely realistic or pretty. We're going with kind of more just the broad idea. Next is a bendy straw. Just need one of those. And then a dowel. This is from my water tower build. It's one of the bigger dowels. So when you are making these terrain projects, keep in mind these extra pieces here that are still functional and usable, as you can add them to other terrain pieces. And next is some scrap foam core. This is just from again another build, but you want to make sure it's got straight edges along here and not waved edges there, unless you're really good at cutting with straight with a knife. So with all that done, we're going to get started on the base for the whole build, which is the mushroom container. Now it's got this lip right here that we're just going to cut off with some scissors. And you can get as close to the plastic as you want or as far away. But the edging doesn't really matter because I'm probably going to end up putting this on a piece of MDF board. So I'm not going to worry about the edging here, as you can, when it is on an MDF board, you can just easily put some sand along there, or flocking or whatever, to kind of blend it in with the base. So you're just going to cut along the whole thing there, and you'll end up with something roughly along the lines of this. So the whole edge is cut. I kind of got a little too close on this edge, but again, like I said, I'm probably going to put some sand or flocking there to make it look like the bunker's been sitting there for a while, so I'm not worried about that. So now we're going to come in, and I've already pre-cut some foam core pieces, kind of like a fin almost. We're just going to slap them on the front two pillars, I guess you could call them, on this side and on the back side. And as you can see here, it doesn't really fit snug right up to there. So again, you could just glue that straight on there and then build up the missing bottom part with sand or flocking or whatever. But I chose not to do that. I chose to come in with my hobby knife. So my initial plan is just to cut a little slit right here. But I run into an issue where the plastic is very flimsy in a way that it's not easy to cut, but it's bending. So I just opt out for scissors. So just kind of estimating the width of the foam core. You could be more precise with this if you wanted to, but I'm never like that when it comes to most of my terrain builds. So just cutting a little tab in there and folding it up, and just have to, I'm a little too narrow on this cut, so it needs to be forced in a little bit. But as you can see, it still doesn't fit that snug, but a lot better. So you could glue it that way, force it in, force it onto the base or whatever. But the other issue that comes in hand is, see how flimsy this is? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to use popsicle sticks, and I'm just going to cut them to length and put them in between those little ridges there to add some support to the structure. So jumping ahead again, I've glued in all the fins, and now I did cut up higher along there so that I could get the fins in a little bit, just to add some more structural support. And as you can see here, I've built out of my popsicle sticks a support, so it's not as flimsy. It's very solid, so when you go pick it up, it's not gonna collapse in on itself or anything like that. So with that out of the way, it's looking pretty good now. We're just going to kind of cover that up a little bit. We're going to build our satellite dish now. So grabbing our bendy straw, which I cut to the length that I wanted, and our bottle cap, we're just going to come in with our glue gun, and you could glue the straw itself, but I don't suggest doing that. I would glue the bottle cap and put a fairly good amount on the cap. That way it will go into the straw and just give a little bit more support for the antenna part. Now again, this doesn't look all that realistic or anything like that, but again, pretty much all recyclable materials, so I'm not worrying about how great it looks. I'm just trying to get something functional and that gets the point across for some table terrain. So now we're going to come in with our dowel, and we're going to put a nice bit of glue right in the center here. Not too much, as I don't want it pouring out the side, and just stick it on in the middle there. Now as you can see here, it's not centered, so you have a little bit of time to work with it. So I get as close to the center as possible, and that's it for the satellite. I kind of carved the end to be a little bit pointier, just for added effect, but you could add in wires and a whole bunch of other stuff. But again, I wanted just something simple and that gets kind of the point across. So next, we're going to glue it to the actual building. This part is pretty straightforward. We're just going to glue it kind of in the center, kind of have it pointing in a direction. I didn't want it going straight up or looking too much like a regular antenna that we have these days, but this is the route I wanted to go. So it's you're gonna have to hold it in place. I keep letting go of it, but because it is very top heavy and there's not a lot of structural support with the straw, it does tend to fall over a lot. So putting a good helping of glue here would also help as well. And another idea that you could do is put a smaller dowel within the straw, and then having it glued on the inside to something else, just to add more structure there, and so you don't get the satellite constantly tipping over like this. But I did put quite a bit of glue, so I am going to have to hold it here for a bit in place, because as you can see now it's just slowly falling down. I just wanted to show you this because I didn't want to skip over me making some mistakes. So just things to keep in mind when you are building things like this is just keep in mind of your structure. But just going to clean up some spider webs along here, and then this should be ready for painting. One trick I did learn with doing one of these before is this plastic here doesn't hold on to primer very well. You'll want to also paint the foam core. You can cut a door in the front if you want. So that's pretty much it, guys. Again, when you go to prime this, I would spray the entire thing with a coat of varnish, whether it's matte varnish or satin glossy or anything like that. Varnish it first, because that will protect the plastic, and it'll give the primer something to grab onto as well. And make sure you cover the foam core pieces as well, because the aerosol will melt it. But that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching the video and subscribing to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the like, and I will have a link to my Facebook page and my Patreon in the video description below, so that you guys can kind of keep up on what I'm doing and show some additional support that way. But looks pretty good, and I want to thank you guys again for watching the video, and have yourselves a great day.